guys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
Just what the flipping Nora are you all lot doing?
I'm still in there. I'm still right behind him.
It was just a very well thought out tactical plan by Danny.
I want goals!
I can literally feel the steam coming out your ears.
So it's like a fun little post-game snack.
The Wednesday Week!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. My name's Dan Forge, and joining us tonight, I've got Stevie, Charlie, and Simon, and we're going to unpick the absolute dumpster fire that is Sheffield Wednesday that's happening right now as we edge closer towards League Two within probably about 6 months, given all the things that we're guilty of that have all come out from under the carpet. Stevie's once again done the notes, and I've had the day off, and I've not looked at them all day, so this is going to be fun to read, and we'll go from there. Simon, that is a lovely dropper shirt you're wearing this evening. Tell me all about it, because it's better than the one we've been subjected to.
My son's just done pre-season FC Malaga, and this is FC Granada, second division Spanish team shirt, and it knocks it out the park, mate. Blue and white, beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I tell you, this is going to sound mental, but there was a period where I wanted to learn a joke from everywhere people said they were from. Bob Moncalf used to do it beautifully in the 90s when he used to present Wipeout. They'd be like, "Oh, where you from?" He'd go like, "Oh, Durham." "Oh, there's only one person from Durham, and that's the Pink Panther." Durham, 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 Durham. You know what I mean? Gags like that. And your mention of Malaga there just welcome to the football chat. Just sent me into a spiral of my only reference to Malaga was when I was about 13, and the audio on the train. If you got on the train from Ben Al Madina to Malaga, it'd go. They didn't have the English person reading out the Spanish place names, so they would go, "The next train for Malaga will not stop at Terminal de Carga," and for some reason. That was 30 years ago, and I still know that inside out. That was a minute long it took me to take that story. Charlie, tell me about your weekend.
Just wonderful, marvellous, great, excellent. It even rained, which really helped for all my sad Michael Smith montages that I've been having with the rain outside and me. Goodbye, my love, goodbye, my friend. Just looking at pictures of him. So yeah, it's been very emotional.
I tell you what, on TalkSport they do that weekend sounds of the weekend, don't they? So any big news that comes in, they ask the punters to suggest a song for it. So let's do that. So with Windass and Smith departing, and Windass potentially going to Wrexham, get yours in the comments. Stevie, you're going to be man in the comments this evening. So brace yourself for some absolute out there suggestions in terms of what the people are going to be saying about that. How was your weekend? All right,
yeah, grand, mate. Got to the end of term finally. It's been a long one, so I'm now looking forward to having 6 weeks off. Normally, I'd be looking forward to a pre-season of scrolling, refreshing my timeline, expecting some signings coming in, wanting something decent to happen at the football. Not sure that's going to happen this season, so we'll see what happens.
Given how your daughter's been getting on playing football this season, have you not bought her some shinnies and some boots sent her down S6? She'll probably get a game.
She's not bad. 35 goals in 18 games last season. Bless her.
Sweet child, mate.
So.
And how much you been paying her per goal?
£5 a goal.
You absolute crackhead.
Mate, listen, it seemed like a good idea at the time, and I was pressured into it by all the other dads and parents. Like, £5 a goal seems all right. Yeah, all right then. I think she scored 6 goals in her first game, 5 goals in her second, and then it went down to a hat trick. Then she had a couple of weeks off.
Sorry, let me just do some maths here. Let me do some maths. So she scored how many goals? 35.
35.
That's 175 quid. Have you put it in a trust fund for her? Get some high interest savings on that and get her down S6. You can buy some decent boots for that.
She's got more money than Dapon.
I was going to say, yeah, she's in the black. All right, then. So let's get into the news of the week. There's been a few bits happen. I say a few bits. There's a lot been going off, and it seems to be there's something depressing every damn day, Simon. You know what I mean? So as we mentioned last week, Danny Rohl had come back to work. There was also these rumours that he'd been dragged in front of the League Managers Association to get told off. Somebody on Twitter said that he'd been fired. We had about 4 or 5 of those ITK accounts saying that he'd gone. He's still there, but there was also rumours of a frosty reception of the players towards him because he came back late, and they weren't having it.
Well, you've got one player there who hasn't even got a contract. He's not being paid. I mean, let alone the ones that have and haven't been paid. But you've got one lad there who's a wee Scottish man who has got no contract, has no club, and is not being paid, and he's training with them. So this guy who's touted himself out to every single club that's had a managerial opening since May now turns up 2 weeks late after Pedersen decided to stay and told us all how much he loves Sheffield. And old Danny comes back after clearing his desk, don't forget, with his little box and his plant in it, and got on jet back to Berlin or wherever. And then he's come back after being on Das Boot for a couple of weeks. And he's back. So I can imagine a few of the players being a tad pissed off. Yes, I think I would be too.
Charlie, I assume you're in Simon's camp with this. You'd have probably been one of the ones that have gone, well, hang on, if we're all turned up for work, you should have known.
Well, yeah, and it's the, it's not even just the touting himself around the place. Didn't he hold an interview at Wednesday to be like, I'm looking for another job? I mean, he's just a big daft tart, isn't he? I mean, it's really bad show. It's really just kind of like the awkward kind of, I'm back must have just been the weird. And you would be fuming. You'd be fuming whether you've been there or not. Not knowing what your boss was up to. Can you imagine in any other job? You've been seeing your boss on LinkedIn, been looking for a new challenge. Oh, I can't wait to manage an awesome group of people. And then there's a little knock at the door, and he's like, room for a little one. And he's got his, he's in the same box that he's just took all his stuff out with. He's brought that back.
Blow the dust off. Yeah.
The thing is, Charlie, he's been at a Coldplay concert, hasn't he? Basically fiddling up to virtually every club in the Bundesliga and the Championship, and they've all blown him out because he keeps getting shown on the video screen, and then eventually he has to cuddle back up to Depchon, which is just crazy.
And I think people would have had a lot more respect. Maybe respect isn't the right word. We would have all understood had he gone. We would have all gone, yeah, that makes sense. If someone had come in for him, we'd have gone, that's fine. It's the trying his best to get away and coming back that is, because we joked about that. We've joked multiple times over the last few months. We're like, can you imagine if he's literally there in the dugout next season? It's like, oh no, that genuinely may happen. That could be exactly what we see. How weird is that? It's just the weirdest thing.
Hang on, I'm trying to be balanced here. Let me try and offer a different way of thinking, because we have had a bit of what we call a Mexican standoff, right? So you've had Danny Rohl going, hey, you guys come and get me, and Chad Seary going, well, if you want to quit. I'm not paying you. You know what I mean? And it's who's going to be left with the Danny Rohl bill by the end of this entire process, and that's what's kind of dragged it out a little bit. That's a great comment there. He's failed at managerial Tinder. I quite like that one. But there was supposed to be these clear the air talks, Stevie. These talks that are supposed to have taken place with the players and Danny, and he came out of it going, "Yep, I've spoke to him. We're all cool in the gang. We're all right now. We're all mates." And then it emerged 4 days later. No.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think reading between the lines, and I think it was you just alluded to, there's loads of ITK out there, and I almost want to start a new segment on the podcast where we do ITK of the week, because there are that many
on the internet. Yeah.
Honestly, and you can see all those the memes and the images and the photoshops with Alex and Simon and Joe and Rob Staten and DB Sports is getting a bit now into. So depending on who you believe, everybody seems to know somebody who knows something. It felt to me that there was an element of arrogance about any sort of prospective conversations that the manager was going to have, that Danny was going to have with the players. Were probably, I felt like he was going into it and going, it doesn't matter what's happened before. I am that good a manager. I am that good. They will come with me. They'll do as I say. And I think over time, the sort of absence has made the heart not grow fonder, but actually realise that he was not one of them. And he you know, there's a big thing in sport, isn't there, where it becomes about the team rather than the individual. And if you want to believe some of these ITKs, and I'm not here to sort of say anything around that, but one or two of the players were, it's always about you and it's never about us and the team. You always refer to us as your players, and it's you that's doing it. And you know, it's us that are out in the trenches. And yeah, he's done a really good job with a squad. He's got more out of the squad than he should have done over the last 18 months or so. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that are putting the boots on. They're the ones that are running onto the pitch. They're going over the line, and they put those performances in. And I think they deserve a little bit of credit from him. I went into the end of last season, into the start of pre-season, going, I understand why he's done what he's done. And I did at the time, before everything came out and you start to hear everything else. And before he goes and does his managerial twerking, whatever you want to call it, he was being managed by a chairman that was an absolute numpty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who would want Dave Ponchansiri? But the problem is, the moment the players come back in worse circumstances that haven't been paid, and if you want to believe some of these rumours that he has been paid to get his contract right and he's still sitting there, there was a Twitter handle earlier on that's not ITK, but it's just pointed out, since Watford on May 3rd, 4th, we've not heard a bean from him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's come back last week. He's back in Sheffield. You know he's back in Sheffield, but he's not saying anything to anyone. So if he wants to put things right, surely it's for him to go, right, I'm going to go to the press and I'm going to say this and I'm going to tell people what my stance is. And it just feels at the moment that he's come back to get himself out of his contract.
Absolutely, it does.
Just at the risk of proffering a sidebar on that, there's an element of who in the press can he trust? Outside Joe and Alex, who have had to spend all this time, I don't think you can trust BBC Sport. They seem to have revelled quite significantly in the demise of Sheffield Wednesday because it's got them some serious clicks and views. I think Joe has been really candid in saying things such as, this is actually quite difficult to write about the football club I support, which I absolutely loved. But will there be an element of knife sharpening from the press, and that's why he didn't want to go, because in case he F's it up? Or on the other hand, if he does go into the press, there'll be an element of, well, that's just a beautifully prepared statement, and we would meet it with some absolute vitriol. Go on, Chaz.
He never seemed to have much of a problem going to the press and slagging off the players when he thought they'd done a bad performance. I mean, again, like, I don't mind a manager being honest. I think it can be quite refreshing some of the time. It depends, not the fault can always lie in two camps. I like it when managers also take a level of responsibility. I got it wrong. I made the wrong subs, those kind of things. But he also didn't seem to be backwards in coming forwards when, again, he was hosting open interviews in his previous office at Wednesday. So I think if you can tweet the whole or Instagram, whatever he was doing, the I'll never forget these fans bowing to the cop and all that, means nothing if you can't recognise the impact it has while you're still under contract now and doing what you're doing. You, as a player, players will put out a little post, thank you for all the time, thank you for everything you've done, and then they go away and we never think about it again. It's absolutely fine. The idea that, like, can you imagine if, like, Windass and Smith had not put anything out at all, like, after everything? Windass especially gets slagged off constantly in the press, constantly, not as much in the press, sorry, but like on Twitter as he was getting roasted by, but still puts out that expected little nod and little whatever. Absolute radio silence from someone that has absolutely not minded going to everybody and his mother for a story. I think it's bang out of order. And I think if he's actually prepared to come back and be the manager, if that is what's supposed to happen, he's got to acknowledge that in that time, we've all been through the absolute ringer. And I think he does have an element. If he wants to get the fans back on side, he had us in the palm of his hand. We were singing his name. Like, he could do no wrong. He could do no wrong in fans' eyes. It's unbelievable. The arrogance is astounding. It's shocking.
Say how you feel, Chess.
Don't I always?
It's that blooch, it's kicking in. Honestly, Chaz, I spent the weekend smashing a load of hooch at the Steelyard at this 90s event. And God almighty, I didn't realize how trash the music was and how old I am. And the weirdest thing about being at this 90s event, that there was this odd thing where I was on the dance floor and there was all these old people there, but also they happened to be the same age as me. I don't know how that happened. I don't know.
Weird.
I don't know how that came about. That was dead weird.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie, let's get in some comments, my brother.
Okay, so we'll kick off with Chris Folks, who's made a song suggestion. I Hate You So Much Right Now. So it's a not a bad start, is it? And then we've got Stu, who would like to comment on Chaz keeping Wakey Wines going with the buying of all the blooch that she's drinking again tonight. There's been a lot of it, obviously, because we're talking about it at the moment, is going around the conversation about Röhl and Chansiri and him coming back. Matt has made an interesting point. I wasn't bothered about anything that had gone on with Röhl before this, but finding it harder to back him after not coming back for the start of pre-season. I'm kind of there with it, to be honest with you. There's probably more, and at the end of the day, ITK is ITK, and people know what they know. Nobody will ever know the full truth, but I kind of sit in that camp myself, to be honest with you. Chris Monks has come out negatively. Get rid Röhl. Don't want you. Same as Chansiri. Craig Haywood. 100%. He will not be in the dugout come sorry, I said Christmas. I meant August. And then Pits and Pizzas. The worry is, as new season money comes in, the owner thinks he can carry on. He is that delusional. And the final one for this.
That one there, yeah. that one, I believe, all of a sudden people are getting paid. You know what I mean? And we're going to go through that mental reset that comes with the start of the season. I feel that in the back of Chansiri's mind, he's thinking, if we get a couple of results, it'll all be fine. We'll be all right. And I think we've got long memories. We're still pissed off at Dave Richards from 30 years ago. Don't come at us, bro. We know I'd hold a grudge. Yorkshire.
And then just the last one on this one before Simon jumps in. Martin Cheetham. Manager needs to stand up and be counted for his squad. He brought them in, then goes AWOL, and that's not acceptable.
Go on, Simon. Were you going to say something there?
I just think, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about many other things tonight, but I just think in regards to the Chansiri thing, we might get a turnover that allows us to pay the players and more importantly the staff. But I think that what we've gone through over the last 2-3 months since May is unprecedented in regards to our history, and probably in regards to a lot of football clubs' history in regards to where we are. The not paying of the players, not paying, and more importantly, not paying of the staff. Players going, the North Stand, which obviously we're going to talk about. It's just a point where I don't think that man can actually walk into Sheffield again, let alone Hillsborough. I think he's unattainable. There's no way, even if we win 10 on the bounce, that any fan of Sheffield Wednesday would welcome him back into Hillsborough.
Oh God, it's an absolute mess. I'm just looking at what we've got coming up to talk about, and it's a mess. Right, Chaz, are you ready? Are you emotionally ready to talk about this next piece of news?
Yes.
Have you got your blooch? Have you got your blooch? All right, let's. I'll give you some swigging time.
Don't go anywhere too far. It's only time for the adverts.
Press the wrong button, so that's nice, isn't it? Right then, Chaz, we had 2 departures this week. Obviously, 2 of the players on top of Gassama and Masaba, who probably handed in their notice. I think it's easy to make those connections, isn't it? That Windass and Michael Smith have also departed the club. I know Michael Smith was a favourite of yours. I'm going to come to you about Smudge. Stevie has prepared us some graphics. 127 appearances, 32 goals, 14 assists, and an absolute shit pinger against Pompey on my birthday before I went to Pop World and danced to NSYNC. So and you're not alone in this as well, Chaz. Smudger was my mum's favourite player as well. So the times when I've not been able to get up and I've loaned her my ticket, it's weird going back and sitting next to her when she's there, and she knows all the players' names now, and like she calls Anthony Masaba Tony, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, come on, Tony. And then she'd go, "Who's that one?" Like a couple of early part of the scene, she's like, "Which one's that one?" I thought it's Michael Smith, and she went, "He can start a fight in a phone box, him, can't he?" And so when there's a corner and he's just elbowing everybody, and you know what I mean? I feel like we're going to miss something with Smudge. and I think is going to be not difficult to replace, but I feel like he had a part to play in the squad.
I think we will miss him like we went on to miss Big Dave, in that sometimes you need someone who offers something a bit different. I'm not going to sit here and say he was world's greatest footballer, and that's what I'm trying to suggest. But what he offered, particularly off the bench, was that kind of, the bulk a little bit, and that scrappiness. He was fantastic from corners. I mean, really, I can't think of it. Really, it was the two Michaels are the only people in the last couple of seasons I can think of that score from corners.
Yeah, the Rotherham lads.
Absolutely, the Rotherham mix, as it were. And there's just. He also was someone that his response to potentially being out of favour was to graft and worked himself back into being a first team name. And he could easily have gone elsewhere. He could have gone elsewhere. He'd done what he'd done, and particularly after, the comeback and we got promoted and he'd fallen out of favour, he'd have got sniffs elsewhere. He could have gone to a League One club and been there, top goal scorer of the season, Offers came in for him, sniffs around, but he was like, no, I'm here. I want to do a job. I want to work in, and worked his way back in. Scored some absolutely phenomenal goals, and you just generally got the vibe that he was just a great squad player as well. You never got the impression that he got an attitude problem, that he got anything other than just 100%. And his reactions when he scored those goals were unbelievable. Like, you could tell how much it meant to him, because for some players, we're just a stepping stone, and that's fine, particularly for the younger lads, absolutely fine. I always come back to as well, it was a big thing for him to come from Rotherham to us. He was well liked at Rotherham, and the fans
Scored the
did
goal
not
that
take
got them
kindly.
promoted.
Absolutely
Yeah.
did. And it was a wrench. He talks about it in Miller and Cran's book. There's like a little bit where they mentioned that it was, he got quite a lot of flack from them, and so for him to do that, he knew he needed to make something of himself at Wednesday. And I think I'll obviously never get over it emotionally, like I never got over Big Dave, but I really do think that he offered something that little bit different. And once you don't have that, you don't have that. Once you lose that shithouse, you can't always sign another shithouse. You can always sign another young lad, but you can't always sign a shithouse.
Can I ask a personal question? How tall is your husband?
6'4".
Yeah, you've got a type, haven't you? You've absolutely got a type, Chaz.
I'd like to see my husband do it on a Wednesday rainy night in Stoke. I'm just saying.
Against Norwich to draw it 2-2.
I'd like to see him equalise from 2-0 down against Norwich in front of the cup.
So let's move on. So these, there was rumours of Smith going to join Paul Warne. We still don't know where Michael Smith is going. But Simon, I feel like a big loss for the club. A much maligned, quite polarising figure is Josh Windass. 183 games for us, which was a surprising statistic for me. Obviously, the record-breaking post-relegation, post-millennium record goal scorer for the club with 53 goals and 23 assists. I think on his day, Josh Windass was lethal. There were games when he would go missing in terms of his. Let's be honest. There were times when his input into the game would be quite poor, but there was still an element of coming up with a goal. And I know I'll get maligned for this, but I always thought the same about Paul Scholes. Everybody talks about what a great player Paul Scholes was. I think there was a lot of games where he'd go missing, but smash a 30-yarder shit pinger in. But Windass did have kind of an element like that. And I think we're really going to miss him. I like Windass on his day, and I kind of liked that he was a bit of a shithouse. And what the genuine thing that I like about Josh Windass leaving was his Instagram post, because I believed it. I felt it was quite heartfelt. I know he liked to rile the Wednesday fans up online and get a bit of shit out in, but I feel like that was kind of heartfelt. I wish him all the best, and I feel like Wrexham is a club that fits in with him and his personality. I think I'll use the term.
Yeah, I mean, Josh is probably the absolute opposite to what Smudger was, really, where we had the big shithouse, plays his heart on his sleeve. Michael Smith. Josh was, in my mind, a luxury player who you needed on the pitch because you only need that one second of magic, of which we got in the playoff final. And he admits, doesn't he, to this day, that was probably one of his worst performances, and yet scored the winning goal. You know, you look at games like the Newcastle game. I think he scored 2 against Newcastle, and he was absolutely superb. I mean, there was no bigger legend in Josh's head than himself, was there? Josh had very high opinions of himself, but he was the player, the luxury player in the side, you know, surrounded by your Volkses and your George Byers and your Palmers, and who you would have on the pitch every game, because you only need that 1 second of pure magic, and he would score. And yes, he was frustrating, and yes, very cryptic. And you know, we had the is he or isn't he last season. You know, is he going to stay? Is he not going to stay? He did his video where he was down at the Cutlery Works with Palms and Bannan, and very settled. Then he got married, and you just thought, I think with Josh, I mean, his dad alluded into him leaving at the end of the season. I think there was a lot of things that sort of unsettled him last season, and again, he is a legend in his own head, and I think he doesn't take criticism very well, which is great because that leads you to raise your game. The move to Wrexham is a match made in heaven for Josh Windass in regards to he will get a lot of coverage. I mean, I imagine
get eyes on him.
Yeah, I imagine Wrexham will be probably one of the most featured Sky games of next season in the Championship, and I think he will play very well for Wrexham. One thing that's frustrating with both these players going and being allowed to go for nothing is that both of them had a monetary value. So we talked last week about Gassama and Masaba. And look, you probably would have said at the end of last season, Smith probably wasn't going to do well in the Championship, and he did. And you probably thought, we all thought that maybe Josh was going. It's the fact that they've gone for nothing, which really pisses me off. It really, really pisses me off.
And the fact that we got offered actual cash money for Smith back in January as well, which I find really frustrating. Yeah. That is, you know what I mean?
From Wrexham, by all accounts, wasn't it?
And they'd have probably paid. They've got silly money, haven't they? Really, they'd have. We could have named a big price at that point. As sad as I would have been if I knew what I knew now, like.
Yeah. Stevie, well, I mean, you know, obviously comment on it yourself about the 2 departures, and then tell me what the mans are saying.
I don't think there's too much more to add from my perspective. Josh Windass deserves all the plaudits he gets, and I know that there will be some comments I'll get into in a moment. He can be quite a divisive figure based on his arrogance or perceived arrogance about the way he carries himself, but you can't deny anybody that is going to take that record that has stuck for 25 years deserves a little bit of credit. And I know people will talk about the standard of football that we've been playing at, but it doesn't necessarily matter because good players score goals at whatever level that they are at. You know, there are players in League 2 that are scoring 25, 30 goals a season. There are players in League 1 that are doing the same. The Championship is littered with, you know, out-and-out strikers that will go and do it. But you know, it's testament to him that he's done it from the position that he's played, because he's never really been an out-and-out striker, has he? He's always been what people would consider to be an attacking midfielder or a 10, really. Smudge, I did a 180 on Smudge around about Christmas time, when the news broke last season that he was free to go. And I think there was part of me that sort of felt that was a good sign, that we were going to allow him to go because we were going to get somebody in that would be better. And you can go back now and look at it and go, oh, well, if we're allowing Michael Smith to go, we must be signing that 20-goal a season lone player from Arsenal, Man United, Man City, who's going to come and tear it up and put themselves in the shop window. When in actual fact, that didn't happen. We paid $3 million on Ugbo, and God bless him. And no slight on EK Ugbo at all. It just didn't work.
I'll slight him. He's been utter shite. He's been absolutely
you can do that.
Bloody rubbish. Fuck that one he missed with his head, where he moved his head out the way of it. Absolutely done with me. Useless sod.
Anyway, we're talking about Michael Smith, and yeah, he goes with all the good graces. The two of them, ironically, I think Windass is the better player, but I think we're probably going to miss Smith a little bit more. Windass, it felt there was an inevitability about Windass going. He's been wanting to go for a while.
Yeah, I think we're a bit more mentally prepared for Windass. But if you think about it now, our sub line, if you're playing a 4-2-3-1, that 3, they've all gone. We haven't. What formation we're playing? Who's going to be? Who's playing the attacking midfielder / forward role? Who's doing it? We ain't got anybody anymore.
mate. We'll get to that in due course. I'm assuming, because we're going to struggle to put a team out in a minute. In terms of comments, with a couple of sort of testimonies to the two lads, Craig Haywood. Good to see Smith go. That seems to be the overriding emotion around Michael Smith. Neon Brown's been on. If you wanted a player, we'll bury a penalty. It's Smudger. Röhl, McMurgle. I love Smith and Windass, and really sad it ended in this manner. But then again,
sorry,
Craig,
hang on. Put that one back up again, Stevie. Now, Ash has been doing the comments for a long time. I've just realised that's Röhl McMurgle and not Röhl McGurgle, as Ash has called him every single time he's commented. That's the first time I went, Stevie just pronounced that wrong. No, Ash has been pronouncing it wrong for like 2 years.
School teacher, innit?
I genuinely, like, the other day I was having a conversation with somebody about Röhl McGurgle that comments all the time. That's blown my mind. I've just had a realisation there. Carry on, move on. I've got to shift some things around in my head.
Yeah. Anyway, a couple more before we move on. The comments are flying out tonight, by the way. Keep them coming, guys. Windass probably tapping his watch for the 15th day to drop so he could go. He wanted out since Christmas. Again, of the two of them, you knew what was coming with them. And then we'll finish on Chef Cam's comment. Smudge was good at defending corners in our own box. We'll miss that as much as with a load of kids in the back four or back five with the goalkeeper.
I'll tell you what, Chef Cam did a live video earlier on this in the back end of last week, and I was sat watching him, and the geezer just looked absolutely dejected. The way he reads out the comments is absolutely brilliant, and I ended up stitching him up with a few comments, and he read them out, and he went, I'll leave you with that one, Fudge, and just kind of moved on, bless him. So I like this game. It's a good one we've got. Röhl McMurgle. I swear to God, we've just noticed, bro.
He's just come on. Finally.
Is Ash watching?
Thank you. And then just because I've said his name right, he's going to see us at Al's in the Yard.
Oh,
lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Okay, I tell you what, Chaz, just last word on Michael Smith, because I know he's a favourite of yours, but Stevie wrote this in the notes, and I feel like it's a great little point. There was a seeming swipe at the club where he said, your club has and always will be about the fans. Did that come across to you as a bit of a dig at the man's upstairs?
Yeah, it made me
or
cry.
Was it just about you specifically?
I've read the whole thing as sort of in brackets. He meant
Dear Charlie.
Dear Charlie. I knew, but he has to like save face, for the fans. That really got me, because it's so obviously not just happening to us. It happens to us the most, but it's not just happening to us. It's everyone that's worked in that. And mentioning about how quite settled he was here and his kids and like the family involvement, he gets it. He 100% gets it. And I think it absolutely was a swipe, because I think they'll all be acutely aware that as hard as things are for them, it's a job, but for us, it's a way of life. And yeah, 100%, I think it was. The one thing you won't see is you won't see Michael Smith on a podcast. The greatest thing about Windass leaving is he can say what he likes now. He says what he likes anyway, but he'll really say what he likes. And I, for one, cannot wait to hear him dish the dirt. And I don't care what he's saying. I just want to hear it all.
I have messaged them. I have messaged them both straight away. And if Masaba and Gassama are watching as well, I've also messaged you. Check your forbidden inbox. Right, let's move on. Simon, this is your knitting. This one. I'll read this because it pissed me off. Rob Statten says that minutes of a meeting have been shared with the BBC indicate there's no professional reassurance that the North Stand is structurally safe. The ground requires a safety certificate before it can be used. The club had advised the council that they would commence work in June. I did that. Is that what that said? Because I remember having a right old mug on with it, because I felt like Rob Statten was like, "Hey, we've got no news, but we wanted to get in first." Like the certificate's not come through the post yet. And then amidst rumours of asbestos being primary source of concern, the BBC News report cites extensive corrosion in the mailed steel roof trusses of the stand as a confirmed issue. Required work would include the replacement of some of the steel beams. That's not a little job, is it, Simon?
No, it's not. Oh, Christ. Well, they haven't been to ask us to do it, so I don't know if it's been done or not.
I know you work in that type of industry. You know, I can get you a porn star martini to your table in 4 minutes, but I know that you're you're a little more qualified. 4 minutes was a bit ambitious. I'll not lie. But I know this is kind of your area, so I'm going to come to you as our learned expert a little bit. Do you feel this is not a little job, is it? This is not a couple of weeks.
No. It could be 3-4 months, depending on the extent of the corrosion. I wouldn't worry about the asbestos unless the fact that they've actually got to disturb some of it to get to the steel beams, which I can't see myself. But yeah, the steel work and the connection with the concrete, you get rust in there, and it's a massive job, because if you start breaking it away, you'll probably find more corrosion. So this is inherently the design of the stand, which was lauded at the time in 1966. 1966. I mean, that was before I was born. So you can imagine how old that stand is. I know everything was black and white then, and toilets were outside. But
tell us more tales from olden days, Grandad.
He's literally just shot down every joke we were going to put in for next 3 minutes.
Honestly, it's like that bit in 8 Mile where he just goes, "Go on, then, what you got?"
I'm getting in there before all of you, and don't get me started on old people designing the Wednesday shirt. Anyway,
and he had an onion on his belt, which was the fashion at the time.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, it's a shit
tell us
show,
more things about the olden days and the building.
About the olden days. It was a shit show, mate, and it is. Again, I alluded to this 2-3 weeks ago. The lack of preventative maintenance in that whole stadium means that we are now staring down on the barrel of the gun, and at a stand that probably won't be shut for 2 weeks. It might actually be shut for 2-3 months if he puts his hand in his pocket and if there's any money to pay for it, which opens a whole new. There was a bit of a tweet going on end of last week about season ticket renewals, and the club people have been approaching the club and saying, "I want my money back," of which I have actually started thinking about. And the club have emailed back saying, "No, if you look at your terms and conditions, no chance."
There were a couple of people did get some out of anger, didn't they? Get a refund out of anger a few months ago.
If you're sat in a stand and you've been sat in that stand for some time, and then they say to you, you have to sit in the West Lower, or you have to go and sit in the South Stand or the Grandstand or the Cop, surely enough, you can actually say breach of contract.
It's more expensive, isn't it? It's a more expensive seat. If you bought a more expensive seat to the theatre and they said, "Oh, sorry, we're doing work on row 4, you've got to go and sit at the back," you'd want money off, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be like, "Fine, I'll watch the show," but I'd want the difference back.
It's a huge minefield, and this is. We spoke about 3 or 4 weeks ago about you can't make these things up, and yet every week there's another story. I feel like I'm in an episode of Lost or a full season of Lost where purgatory just seems to get fucking worse, excuse my French, every week. And that's what it is, that we've landed in this aeroplane that's crashed somewhere on the moors, and we're actually Sheffield Wednesday fans, and this is what we're having living in.
So if you are flying any aeroplanes, and make sure there's nobody on it, fly it into the North Stand and we can claim the money back on the insurance. 6,000 people, Steve, you've got to be displaced from that stand. I mean, that is a lot of people, in it. If what Simon's saying is true,
it's a lot of people. But just my big issue with it, and I kind of empathise with the club. And I know I might get pelters for that. I empathise with them because the club has been run by a chairman that doesn't know what he's doing. And as a result, we throw this vitriol and we throw this sort of disdain towards Sheffield Wednesday. And we're saying we need to boycott and we need to do this, we need to do that. And I understand that, and I've talked about it. And there's a lad, I don't know if people have seen this, Scott Cropper, is on Twitter. And he texts his daughter, I think her name's Violet, and he says, whatever happens, she's getting the shirt. She's getting the shirt because this is our match day routine and this is everything else. And I kind of understand all of that. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we all have something that we want to get pissed off about. And my frustration comes from the fact that if the North Stand gets closed, whilst I empathise with the club and while I feel really sorry for the people that are on the North, that in some cases, I think Vic would always talk about her mum and dad having the same seats for 35 odd years. which will be even longer now. How do you tell Vic's mum and dad that they've got to move seats after 35 years? People have sat in those seats for as long as they have. So you've got that.
That's the most Yorkshire thing I've ever heard in my life. Steve,
it's on the. I get it. But as well as that, it's on the wall outside the ground.
You're going to have to move. What do you mean move? I've had these seats for 50 years. Yeah, but
it's on the wall outside. It's on your head.
But I've had these seats for 50 years. The stadium's going to fall onto your brains and cave you. But I've had these bloody seats for 50 bloody years. Bloody rumble. Get me some Edmonton's relish tea bags.
Dan, there's more than that, though, isn't there? Because, I mean, you haven't shown the comment up, but there's like disabled supporters sit all on one side, right? There's the fact that in regards to Vic's father can't walk very well because of issues he has, right? There aren't that many steps in the North Stand compared to where Steve goes in the South Stand, and certainly where I go in the Grandstand. You know, there's so many things. The reason
I get
why
that,
people...
but the stadium's going to fall on the red. I mean, I think that, you know, the chagrin here shouldn't come from that. The chagrin should be the fact that he's known about this for 2 bloody years and done shit all about it. That's where we should be angry.
Yeah,
I get, and I totally agree with you. But it's not just about people sitting in the same seats. The issue I was coming round to was I pay more money than the North Stand. I pay more money than the Cop.
Well,
so these people that get displaced have paid 200 odd quid less than I have to come and sit on the same seat.
Yeah. So them how the rich people are sitting.
What? I mean, you're right, though, but it's not me being a snob. It's not me saying it's just circumstance. I prefer to sit on the south than I do on the north. It's just a family thing. It's a convenience thing. It's where we go. It's how we access the ground. You know, I'm not sitting there going, I'm better because I'm on the south. At all, and I don't want people to think that. But the bottom line is, because I choose to sit on that side of the ground, why should it be right that somebody who's paid less, because the club hasn't done their due diligence and hasn't sorted out, kept their house in order, they come and sit next to me? If I go to the club now and go, right, I've paid this much more than the people that sit on the north have got their season tickets, so where's my refund? I ain't getting a refund.
No.
And that's not me having a complaint against anybody who sits on the North Stand that comes and sits next to me. I've got no quarrel with people on the North Stand moving and going elsewhere, or people that move on to the Cop, or if the Cop were displaced, or wherever it may be. My argument is I paid for a seat, and the seat that you're telling me that this seat is more expensive than those. So if it's more expensive than those and they're going to come and sit over here, give me my chuffing money back, because we paid too much money. And the bottom line is we're going to be paying. Yeah. So.
Go on, Charlie.
I was going to say there's got to be a safety issue as well, to a certain extent, for suddenly X amount more people all going through, you know, the same turnstiles to the same toilets to the same side. I mean, that's going to cause an issue. And presumably there is enough space to accommodate a whole stands with the people across the other 2 stands, I guess. I'm guessing. I actually don't know. I'd love someone to tell me. I would imagine probably the amount of people that maybe haven't renewed their season tickets, maybe that's freed up some seats for the people from the north. I don't know, but I would have thought that it's going to be chaos. And also, this all assumes that it's like it will be closed while work is being done, as opposed to just closed. That's what worries me. Is they'll go, oh, they've told us we can't put people there. End of the line. Like, what if Chancery is leaving? Maybe selling. Does he think about bothering to do that work, or does he not bother thinking about doing that work?
That's going to be a sticking point as well, because
I
don't think it's a cheap job, from what Simon was saying. And you're right that, you know, there's a lot here. None of this should be an issue. It should have already been sorted, and it all falls down with one man. What we're doing is speculating what the ramifications of not doing anything about it in the 2 years that he's known about it is going to be. And Stevie's discourse and the things you guys have just brought up then, I completely agree with. There is now a disparity between fans on what they've paid and what they're expecting, and it's not what anybody wanted. You know what I mean?
It's also the fan experience. I mean, I don't want to decry the guys who are in the T1 Massive, but can you imagine the T1 being in the South Stand family stand? There's a slight collision of, 2 different cultures there in regards to how football is followed, you know, and do the 2 mix? I'm not quite so sure.
Which
Aussie Owl.
ordinarily is fine, isn't it? Ordinarily,
Yeah.
you go, yeah, there's the people that want to sit with the kids and there's the people that want to, whatever. Normally, that's fine. And then suddenly it's like you're at a dreadful party where, like, you only know the host. And it's that awful, when you're hosting a party and it's all your friends from all different areas and they start talking, it's really awkward. That's what it's going to be like. But on a massive scale, there's going to be kids getting flares at the back of their head. It's going to be horrendous.
I tell you what, actually, Chaz, that's a really good point. People have asked me over the years, Fudge, why are you not married? The thought of having a stag do and mixing friend groups absolutely keeps me awake at night. I honestly, it's awful because there's no worse than one of your new friends talking about one of your old mates going, who's that knobhead you brought with you? And you're like, I've known him 30 years, but yeah, he is a knobhead. You know what I mean? But anyway, I like Dave. He's been my mate for years. Right then, listen, go on. Stevie, let's have some final comments on that, please.
Mr. J's been on. Oh, I was going to read it and then not put it up then. Mr. J's been on. What happens if all the season ticket holders in the North do charge backs to the club? Banks have refunded. And this is where we're getting to now, isn't it? Because we're now speculating on what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anybody knows for certain. And the one thing I would say is that when you've got a chairman like ours, it doesn't matter what people should be doing and what is the right thing to do. He's going to do what he wants, isn't he? Izzy Nick, money back would be possible if the North Stand is officially closed, surely.
Has to be. Has to be.
Mike Poulton, the work won't get done on the North because Chancellor will blame us for not buying enough football shirts to pay for the work to be done. And then Karen Birch on Facebook has been on, where's the money coming from to fund the repairs needed? I think we all know the answer to that. And then Stu is digging me out.
That's an interesting point, actually, Karen. There was a rumour that Mokpa were involved in it somewhere, the front shirt sponsor. I have no real basis on that apart from rumours on the interweb, but that was something that was floated. But I will find out because I'm quite the journalist nowadays, it seems. Go on, Stevie, sorry.
You're all right, mate. Getting dug out by Stu. Can't wait to get moved to the south. I can spit on the monster-in-law and we all get to eat Stevie's chicken. Chicken. I was reading that back and I went, why did I star that? And then I went, oh yeah, chicken. And then last one, Craig Swift. They'll be moaning like hell about all the noise that is on the south stand. Simon, say something else about the North because Dan's too busy laughing.
I just think we're all going to be stood staring at this lovely stand from the 1960s that will be empty. And the trouble is, no fans will be covering up the words Chansiri, which shall rub it in even more.
What's
our mate Mark's been on. Mark Fitzmorale. After seeing how good we were in the 90s, best stadium in the country for 4 decades, plus 3 major cup finals, Europe, etc. I cannot believe what has happened to our club. He's heartbroken. Great show has. Oh, that's us. Great show. That's us. I think we're a great show.
I think Mark's
award-winning
there. Mark's got a point there in regards to the fact of the lack of investment in the stadium pre-Chansiri. When we went through a golden period of the 1990s, and we obviously built the new roof on the south stand, on the south, and we built the grandstand, etc. But in effect, we made a silk purse out of the sow's ear because the old stand is still underneath where Steve sits, and the seating down there is abysmal. We put a roof on the Cop, late 80s, which really was just a roof on a rubbish tip. We had lots and lots of money in the club, which we spent on some good players and then some mediocre ones, and invested nothing in the actual infrastructure of the club. And this is the trouble we've gone through. And gradually, slowly but surely, over the years, lack of investment, and the fact that we've got away with lack of investment through the years, through obviously the 2000s up to where we are now, have been awful in regards to investment in Sheffield Wednesday, the infrastructure. You know, we were all going, oh, brilliant. We've signed Fernando Forestieri. We've signed Jordan Rose. We've signed these. We all got turned on by the players when we actually really, to be honest, took our eye off the ball, didn't we? And really,
I like a little gooch tickle from good players. You know what I mean? I want to give it a Italian.
But we took the eye off the ball because really a lot of this money should have been invested in the club.
That is one good thing about the fact that we can't, like if someone buys us, we can't actually spend any money on players for it. So you might as well spend it on rebuilding the stadium. What else are you going to do with your fat stacks of cash, imaginary buyer? You might as well go and buy us a new stand.
This is the
whole new
issue.
stadium.
Stevie brought this up a couple of weeks ago. We're not just expecting players and we're expecting wages and bills to be paid. We're expecting stadium improvements, infrastructure improvements, back of house improvements. It's not going to be a cheap buy. And if he's still wanting ridiculous money for the club, there's a lot that needs doing. And whoever's going to be coming in needs to be mega loaded. Hence my lack of optimism for Adam Shaw. Right then, let's talk about the kit, shall we? Let's talk about the kit. Let's talk about the kit. Stevie, I'm going to put your infographic up if you want to run me through it.
I forgot I'd done this. I'm joking. So Macron have released, it's come out this over the last week or so that Macron have obviously released the kit, and it was derided, I suppose, the Sheffield Wednesday shirt based on that clip art. I'm sure we'll get into that in a moment. But for those that are watching on YouTube at the moment, or if you're watching online, you can see that there are actually 6 Macron kits. At the time of producing, my understanding is that Wrexham are Macron, but they haven't released the price of their kit yet. But West Brom, Oxford, Stoke and Blackburn also have Macron kits, and the range for those kits starts with West Brom at £59.99. You've got Blackburn with the same price. Cheaper than that, you've got Oxford and Stoke, which are effectively £56 each, and then you've got us at £72. So our shirt is retailing at £12 more than other Macron garments in the Championship next season. Just a quick disclaimer for those that are listening: the West Brom price is based on the away shirt, not the home. I don't think that matters.
72 English pounds, Charlie. I know you are enticed by such things, and we discussed it. We discussed it last week. We just had a comment there saying the Wrexham one is £65, going to be the higher end given Wrexham's commercial ability, as it were. But let's let Chaz, let me put a close up of the kit with the new sponsor, Mr. Vegas, on the front there. Not Chansiri, good to see. But this is absolutely disgraceful. This kit is bloody terrible. It is awful, and I am absolutely shocked that meetings have taken place and someone has signed that off.
It looks like it was designed by committee. It looks like. Do you remember that? Did you ever play that game when somebody writes the first sentence of a story and then folds it over and then pass it to the next person? They write a story. That's what it's like. Someone picked the shape, and then someone wrote blue and white stripes, and then someone wrote the words SWFC down the sides, and someone else put big hideous green sponsor, and then they mushed it all together and went, oh look what we've made. It is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It is hideous. I'm so sorry if it's been designed by some poor person who has not been paid by the club. I don't know whose job it is to design these things. It's vile. It's horrible. And I don't think it's that hard to make a nice football shirt. I actually don't think it is. I think if you're too scared to go creative, go simple. It's so not that difficult to make good shirts. And when it came out, I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God. I now will not feel any need to buy it. I can eat.
Chaz's husband's wallet sighs relief there. Like the gas bill's going to get paid.
Have we got a picture of the back? Have we got a picture of the back?
I tell you what, I have changed the. I've got the backdrop ready for next season. So if you want to look at how we're going to be looking next year, that's how the back looks on the back of the kit. So a bit of a sneak into next season's graphics for you there, ladies and gents. But that's what the back looks like. It's absolutely horrendous, and it genuinely looks like it's been made on Microsoft Publisher 1997. Also, I need to mention Lee Wildgoose helped me with those graphics because I absolutely had a creative block. So if you do see Lee Wildgoose on X, I appreciate your help there, sir. Thank you very much. But yeah, £72, and it got me thinking, right, about previous kits we've had. That one last season was bloody awful. This one that's coming up is bloody awful. Now, the away kit that Chaz got on the orange one, stunning, absolute beauty. But those zigzag lines I thought were disgraceful. I thought that the A-up nonsense the other year was bloody awful and ruined what had the potential to be a good kit. We had a good one in the one we got promoted, and I'm glad that's the one that's all over the the big pictures when you Google the club and stuff like that. But Stevie, you've got you've got a daughter that you take to the football quite regular. Is she sold on the clip art print?
Yeah, but that's because she's 11 years old.
That was going to be my joke afterwards.
But that is what it is, and at the end, I've alluded to it. You've got that internal struggle as to whether or not you're going to fund the club by buying the shirt, or you're going to give your daughter a sort of a gift and something that she'll remember it by. But for me, I agree with you, Dan. I think the kit's awful. We did the Wednesday warehouse stuff a few weeks back, and I said I'm not a huge fan of home kits anyway, because there's only so much you can do with a blue and white stripe. So I would tend to, if I given the choice, I would tend to plump for an away kit. Interestingly enough, no sign of an away kit, and we're still waiting on that third kit, and all the rumours are going, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
With the old badge, yeah.
Where is it? Yeah, where is it? When can I see that shirt? Because we are 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out from the start of the season.
Imagine if it's got the old badge and then SW. Imagine if I've paid for that. Imagine if I've paid for that and it's got clip art on it. I'll laugh. I'll have to laugh.
Yeah.
I'll laugh and then I'll cry.
Because the blackout kit was basically the same as the home kit last season, wasn't it?
With exact shit on it, but it was a nice kit. But go on, Simon.
What it strikes me is that the only person who will have signed off on this will be the chairman, right? So what it strikes me as is that, when you want to organise a buffet and you go to a restaurant, you'll know with this, Dan, is you go in and you go and they give you 3 different prices. This is our cocktail sausage and cheese and cheddar, and this is this, and this is like
gold, silver, bronze package. I know it well.
So what's happened is that Macron have done that. So he's gone in and he's gone, look, I want to make the kit. I want the cheapest kit available with the most profit. So he's gone for the bronze buffet with this shirt. So they've come out and there's probably 3 shirts there, and we haven't seen the best one, but the gold one will probably be effing mint. It'd be the best Wednesday shirt ever. And what they've done is, and this one was designed by our junior, and he's had a bit of, and this is the shirt. I haven't been in the shop, but I don't know what the quality of the material is like. It just looks shit. The design looks shit. The whole design, everything looks shit. He's gone for cheapest option because fundamentally he doesn't give a shit about his football club anymore. He wants rid of it. He wants rid of it. It's literally a plaything he bought, and now he's fed up with it. He doesn't like it anymore. He don't want out to do with it. And he doesn't care that the North Stand's not going to be open. He doesn't care that players are leaving. He doesn't care that Danny Rohl doesn't want to work for us. And he doesn't care we've got a shit shirt. He does not care one iota about Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. He wants rid of it. If he could, he'd shut the club down tomorrow because he just wants rid. He just wants to stick his head in a big bucket of sand because, trust me, have we heard from the chairman? Have we had any statements since May? All we've had is rumour and conjecture. We've not had anything from him as well as the manager. And what we've come out with is players leaving, a stand that nobody goes in, and a football kit that I wouldn't wipe my arse on, right? Because it's shit.
Might make it better.
And you know what? I feel sorry for the people who work in the shop. I feel sorry for the people who are trying to promote this, the media team. I feel sorry for kids whose parents buy it for them, because I understand that. This will be the first year that Ethan, all right, he's 17 now, he looked at it and went, Dad, I'm not buying that. It's shit. First football kit in 17 years, home kit, he will never have and never own because he don't want it because he says it looks like shit, right? That's a 17-year-old making a decision on that one. This is just ridiculous. And that man has to go because he saddled us with, I'll go back to the kit, the shittest football kit in this league and the most expensive. 72 quid? How much is that costing to make? Tenner? Fiver? I understand that we need to buy kits because we need to pay the fans, but no, don't. If you want to buy one off DHgate, I feel sorry you're going to buy one off DHgate because it's still shit, whether it costs you 13 quid or 72.
Why would anybody want to buy it off DHgate? It's that bad.
Exactly. You're exactly
and it's going to be
right.
the kit. It's going to be the kit we get relegated in. It's going to be the kit we can see 10 in a derby game in. It's oh my god.
And if he's in charge, if he's still in charge this time next year, it'll be the kit hung on the discount rail that will be discounted from 72 to 65, and there'll be 4,500 of them.
It's when you get Luke on Wednesday Warehouse coming out and going, this kit in about 7 years' time, this kit This is the kit. Remember this kit.
Yeah.
I hope you've stockpiled it.
Yeah. That's what
Stockpiled
you
it.
can get a job lot of them.
There'll be a warehouse in Skeggy trying to sell them.
Yeah.
Tom will
Whatever
be,
size
Tom
been
will be
drinking,
steaming
give him
up.
more. This is lovely stuff. It's just the ramblings of an old man shouting at clouds. Okay, I tell you what, I've always found the Stoke kit quite interesting because I've always thought to myself, oh, we're probably going to end up with a blue version of that, and we never do. But if I chuck Stoke's kit up again, that is bloody awful.
Horrible. It's like
Stokes has
raw
got
bacon.
wavy lines. It's awful, and we've somehow managed to make a shitter one. I'm looking at Stokes going, that's a lovely dropper shirt. That it's bloody awful. Right, let's go through some comments and then let's move on with some news in terms of what's gone off.
So just going back to Karen again, shocking and price is disgusting.
It is.
Interesting point from Izzy Nick. Stokes owners sub their shirts. Not convinced we make much money on any of the shirts. Price is ridiculous. Mike Poulton, I've seen better bus and coach seats in the home shirt. Doubling down, Shabby McNally, pub teams have a lot better shirts. And then Paul Dodd, the new shirt is more expensive than the Leeds one. So I'll let that sink in for a moment with you. And then Ian has got a really interesting take on protesting. The first home game, you should all go topless as a protest. I don't think I'm going to do that.
You don't want to sit next to me half naked. Trust me.
And then my favourite, the last one, Long Jericho. It's like Alan Sugar got 2 teams of TikTokers to come up with a kit and sell as many as possible.
That is so accurate. Oh my God, it is. It's
really
like The
accurate.
Apprentice made a football shirt.
Although,
that is spot on.
Although you're fired. would be the answer.
You're fired. I've just realised my Alan Sugar impression is the same as my Chansiri and Sean Dyche one. You're fired. All right then. So. Listen, moving forward, so Monday we were linked with Mohamed Konate, who is thought to have spent some time at St George's Park with the club. And then Glasgow Rangers confirmed that Jeddy Gassama did go in the end. I think we discussed that last week, didn't we? And then Chris Powell was, I believe, involved at St George's Park, but we still don't have confirmation of whether he's coming back. Hyper popular CP there. And then Thursday came around and we were talking about trying to get Callum Patterson over the line, somebody who again has been told he can go, and then he's staying. Then we're offering contracts, and then we don't know what Callum's doing. Callum, I think we might need you, pal, because there's that number 9 shirt going begging now. You know what I mean? There might be, even though we've got nobody to give you the ball from the wings or from the what the kids call the number 10 position. Pierce Charles has been linked with Rangers inevitably, given that Sal Bibbo is up there, and we're a fire sale at the minute. It's some easy maths to make, isn't it? And then Konate did start a pre-season against Stocksbridge in a Wednesday 11, which included former striker Carla Saba's son Alexander, which has made me realise my age quite significantly. I don't know about you guys. And then Caelan Cole-Cadamartri finally has gone to Man City in one of the most protracted transfers in the history of time. Bit of a sad one, that one, I think, but I feel like it was inevitable. And this is going to sound mental, but because Man City have paid us money, that's more than we would have got had his contract expired and they'd gone to tribunal, and the price had been set at something like 200 grand, which gets us to today. Stevie, I'll come to you on this one. News breaks that Akin Famewo is in talks with Hull City. Now, this is Hull City, who we haven't paid, right? Who we haven't paid for Malik Wilkes, and now they're in financial trouble. Getting Akin Famewo, who we haven't paid Norwich for.
This is like bartering.
Yeah,
you can have 4 chickens with him as well.
It's like he's landed. It feels like he's gone round the Monopoly board about 4 times, not bought any properties, not upgraded any of his assets, and then landed on Mayfair right after about his 10th time round. Been in jail a couple of times, and then gone, right here. How much do you need from me? 400. If I pay you with that, that is the epitome of robbing from Peter to pay Paul, right?
Yeah. What the hell is going on?
You haven't even paid for him.
It's just bizarre, and you don't. I never realised how protracted. You hear it, but we've never experienced a protraction on an extended contract and instalments being paid. I think I'm right in saying that I don't think we've actually given Norwich a penny for Maywell. So we've just said, we'll have him and we'll owe you. And we'll owe you. Because it's on, in the grand scheme of things, I might be wrong and somebody might pop up and say that I'm talking nonsense. I don't think we paid a penny for Maywell. And that is stupid because I think we owe 50 grand. Which is, Barry Bannan's weekly wage, if you want to believe Chris Wilder, give or take 10. So to find ourselves in that situation is just mind-blowing that this has happened and this has been going on behind the scenes. And you kind of come back to that sort of, that full circle moment when you realise that there's a reason why people don't see the finances. And there's a reason why Chancery doesn't have a committee. And there's a reason why we don't have a treasurer and financiers and a director of football and everything else, because there's some shady shit going on at the six.
Oh yes.
Well,
And if we
one here that said there was one here that said something about that's why we gave that young kid to Southampton. That's why the youngster went to Southampton to cover the Charles loan fee.
Yeah.
So we give him a kid. Here, that's people trafficking, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
You've not been able to do that for a long time as well.
I didn't think we were allowed to do that anymore. And then for Maywell's out of contract, Emily Martin says. So that
we
might have
took
something
him
to do.
From Norwich for no money,
Okay.
injured him, and now we're going to give him to Hull.
Yeah, broken.
Why?
All this, it just strikes me as all these players who we're sort of going, actually, they can do a job for us, are all going to our competitors in the same league. So Smith, talk of him going to Preston. Obviously Wrexham. We've obviously Pole went to Preston. There's talk of Penwell going to Hull of all places.
And they'll be relegation scrappers probably with us, Hull, given that they're going through similar things to us. So the idea that we're going to lose players that could do a shift for us, two people who we're going to be scrapping for every point against is even funnier.
How bad, Charlie, must we be if he's going to another club that are bound by the same embargoes as us, but he'd rather play for them
He'd rather go to Hull. He'd rather go to Hull.
Hull that are under an embargo, the same embargo as us, but Hull.
That comment you popped up there, Stevie, for Maywell to Hull is as mind-boggling as that end of season photo with everyone left in colour. I don't know if you guys have seen it on the socials, but it's a mind-blowing picture of essentially who is remaining from the last game of the season at Watford, who is actually remaining with the club, and there's some superstar names in there. It's worth having a look, and you've got like Jamal Lowe and Ingleson kind of like, come back, lads. You know what I mean? It's happening. And then, in spite of being out of contract, Chaz, Barry Bannan makes a public appearance at St Mary's Primary School alongside the community programme to deliver a workshop and assembly. This guy just keeps impressing everybody, doesn't he?
He goes to heaven. First class ticket. He's it's everything that a football club is really about, because it's not actually about what gets played, and it's certainly not going to be about what gets played for us next season. And it just the absolute epitome of class and loyalty. Just fantastic and sad, very sad that this is how we now treat him, and this is the result that no one actually really expects any different for him to act. And I almost wish that he'd turn around and go, you can get stuffed after everything I've done. I'm out of here. I don't need this headache. So yeah,
at the end of the day, he won't be able to play for us at the start of the season because he's not registered with Sheffield Wednesday because his contract's run out.
Just going to be club ambassadors, just going to be outside. He's to be like those old Liverpool players that just don't seem to piss off, like every time. Like, I don't know what it is about Liverpool specifically. My little brother is just been appointed one of the coaches at Huddersfield, and he was a coach at Liverpool for a long time. And I said, "What's it like up there?" I said, "Is it like?" Everybody just seems to be knocking around. He said, Dan, I've never seen out like it. Like, you've constantly got Jamie Carragher and Kev Keegan. They're constantly like just about the place going, hey, do you remember me when I used to play here? You know what I mean? And then ironically went to go and play for went to go and work for Steven Gerrard, who does that loads. So, lol. Right. So, and then finally, Start the bus, kid. Start the bus, Simon. Rob Statten reports the club paid York City in a friendly and ran out 3-0 winners. Hold the line, caller. We're winning the league.
Massive.
Let's go.
You know, it's funny, isn't it, that we're having these pre-season friendlies that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
That nobody knows about, nobody goes to, and then we just sort of had the odd tweet, not from Wednesday, but from York and from who was it? Lincoln Town, I think. Oh no, Lincoln United. Lincoln United. I think Stocksbridge was one that was promoted, but not by us, by those teams.
Yep.
Which is just bizarre.
We are absolute banter club right now. Stevie, before I go into any other business, have we got any final comments to read out?
Just the last couple. Nick, SWFC, with news Valerie could go and rumours that Lowe also, Max Lowe, that is potentially on the way out. Really going to struggle to get a side out come the first game. We're made up of kids who are far from ready. I think I've started that. I think it's important to sort of recognise. We're talking about chucking the kids in. We've got a duty of care to some of those young players.
You make it sound like we're sending them to work in the mines. Like, you know what I mean? Right, you be careful, kids down there.
Stop being bitter. Stop having a go at me. And we've got a duty of care. We've got to look after them.
We basically are sending them to the asbestos-ridden
war zones.
Literally the crumbling wreck of a stadium. Jesus.
The pitch should be nice, apparently.
Those poor kids.
If we can
AdWords pulled down. Those poor kids.
What, us or them?
Wow.
God.
Right.
And then the last one is Long Jericho. I think you've started this one, Dan. If Chansiri played Monopoly, he would sell his hotel on Mayfair to cover his community chest, pay hospital fees card.
Yeah. That's a really good way of doing it, and then I'll just throw the board up and just flog his game to the Americans. Right then, Chansiri-nomics. Does anybody else have anything to add before I start talking about other business? Oh, get well soon, Paul Gascoigne, who was a fixture of a big influence in me as a kid, and a lot of people out there, a big inspiration to a lot of young people. Working class fella, made good, collapsed in his home on Friday. He's had his troubles with mental health and alcohol, and I hope he's all right and comes out the other side of it. But in the meantime, it remains time for me to tell you that Owls in the Yard is still selling very, very well. I was there on Saturday at the Steel Yard, and if the weather turns shy, it was still all right. We can still have a good time. It's going to be absolutely outstanding. Tickets are still only £3 per person. We announced Lee Gregory. We're also trying to get another player over the line to double down for your kids. And we also landed a band called the Out Charms, local band from Doncaster, very much entrenched in the Sheffield music scene. And I'm excited about them. A couple of young kids we saw here. That's what music festivals are all about, isn't it, Stevie?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I've got a lot of time for them because I taught 3 of them. They were they were kids in my form.
If they call you Mr. Spence, I'm going to absolutely die.
Honestly, I'm dreading it. Sir,
they've got a song called Mr. Spence. That's
oh God. That's going to be the new theme tune for next season.
The long-term forecast is 23 degrees on the 3rd of August.
Big fan. Thank you very much. And finally, some other news.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, jokes aside, they are an excellent band that have started. They've been together for, I'd say, about 10, 12 years now. Writing their own. They started off doing Arctic covers, Oasis covers, and have branched out. They're now doing their own material. You can catch them on Spotify, Apple. They are touring, they're doing festivals and what have you. So this isn't just a garage band that we're talking about. They're working incredibly hard to get their name out there. And I don't watch this because they can be little shits at times. I'm incredibly proud of them and to see how they've developed from snotty 11-year-olds to the kids they are today. It's fantastic.
I'll tell you what, Stevie, you've just made me think what my teachers would have probably said about me, and I think, they'd probably said something quite similar about being a little shit. Yeah, probably about that. Gobby knobhead, clever knobhead, distracts everybody. I was one of them kids that got he was the one that got his work done and then started just distracting everybody. I got them a lot.
Yeah, just look at Ash. Look at Ash.
If you were at my school, Dan, I don't think I'd like you.
Oh, you'd have chucked many a rubber at me. But when
Why
I
do you
said
have to
rugby, I
be
meant
such a
racer. Yeah. You could be really good at this, Dan. Why don't you just get your head down and just?
You've got so much potential.
So much potential, and I just hit you back with my best Jim Carrey impression. That'd have been it. You know what I mean? I'd have gone Bumblebee Tuna.
If you put your mind to it, you could be on the radio.
Jesus, were you my actual teacher? Christ. And so finally as well, podcast news as well. Tomorrow I will be speaking to Sheffield music scene stalwart Martin Ware, formerly of Heaven 17. I don't know if he's still with Heaven 17. Heaven 17 and the Human League. Martin Ware will be recording with me tomorrow at lunchtime, talking about his time supporting the Wednesdays. And I'm kind of interested to... I kind of want to get some mucky stories out of him as well from the music industry of the 60s and 70s. I want to know all about it, but that's it. Before I go, Charlie, Simon, Stevie, thanks a lot for joining us this evening. Thank you guys for getting involved with the comments. It's been an absolute pleasure. And hopefully I shall have some news for you next week as well, which is quite entertaining. See you later. Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your podcast.